Hello, everybody. Very important today. This is an Algebra 1 lesson that we need for geometry. I can factor trinomials and solve quadratic equations by bringing the first sign down, multiplying the signs for the second sign, and finding two numbers that multiply to the last number, and either add or subtract to the middle number, depending on the sign. Let's go. What we're going to do here is we're going to do these four examples at once, just so you can see each little piece a couple times. Whenever I'm factoring a trinomial, three terms, an x squared, an x, and then an integer, it's always two sets of parentheses. It's always the variable in front for each. Now the signs. I do the signs differently than most teachers because students struggle with the signs. You follow me, you won't struggle with the signs. First sign comes down. First sign comes down. First sign comes down. First sign comes down. For the second sign, we are multiplying the signs. A positive times a negative is a negative. A positive times a positive is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. A negative times a negative is a positive. Now, I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to the last number, and whatever sign this is, if it's a minus, they're subtracting to the middle number, or if it's a plus, it's adding to the middle number. So I want to know all my numbers that multiply to 12. So there's a little calculator trick that we can use to help us. As my calculator loads up, I'll show you that, or you can just list your factors. So starting with 1, 1 and 12, 2, 2 and 6, 3, 3 and 4. Those are all my numbers that multiply to 12. Your calculator trick, if you go to y equals, and you type in the number divided by x, so I want 12. So if I type in y equals 12 divided by x, I go to my table, second graph. Just look at the positive number. So I would put the top of the table at 0. These are all the numbers that multiply to 12. So you see in the table, we've got 1 and 12, we've got 2 and 6, we've got 3 and 4. Those are all my numbers that multiply to 12. I'm looking for the pair that subtracts to 4. Which of these pairs of numbers subtracts to 4? 6 and 2. Bigger number goes first. The bigger number must go first. No matter how you do this, the bigger number must have the first sign. Second one, multiplies to 2, adds to 3. Well, what multiplies to 2? 1 and 2. That's it. Do those add to 3? Yes. Bigger number goes first. Multiplies to 15. Again, use the calculator trick if you need to. 15 divided by x. Go to your table. I see 1 and 15, 3 and 5. 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Which of those pair adds to 8? 3 and 5. Bigger number goes first. I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to 20. I can use my calculator trick if needed. 20 divided by x. Go to my table. I see 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Which of those pairs subtracts to 8? 2 and 10. Bigger number goes first. That's how you factor a trinomial. So let's put it all together now for a question. Number 5, I see a trinomial, three terms, two sets of parentheses, variable in front for each. First sign comes down. Positive times a negative is a negative. Multiplies to 14, subtracts to 5. 1 and 14, 2 and 7. Use the calculator as needed. Which pair subtracts to 5? 2 and 7. Bigger number goes first. Now we use this within the next piece. This is a stepping stone to get to solving quadratic equations. I got a story for you. It's about a guy named Mr. X Squared. He wants to party. Before he can party, all of his friends have to come over because he's not going to party by himself. He's no loser. And once all of his friends come over, he parties with Bubbles. Mr. Y Squared. He wants to party. Before he can party, all of his friends have to come over. So 6 needs to come to his house, so we subtract 6 from both sides. Party time. Everybody's over. What does he do with his party? Bubbles. Oh, parentheses. Your next step is to factor the trinomial. So the story just kind of keeps you structured. Whenever you see an x squared or a y squared in an equation, everything to one side. Now we factor the trinomial. Y and y. First sign comes down. Negative and a negative is a positive. Multiplies to 6. 1 and 6. 2 and 3. Subtracts to 5. 6 and 1. Now, I'm not done until I have y equals, so now I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. Some people will call it a t-chart. I solve each of them. Essentially, the sign ends up switching. Y equals 6. Y equals negative 1. For the purposes of geometry, we're for the most part reject the negative value, but we're not going to worry about that now. I kind of level this up as we go. Let's level up a little bit more here. Mr. X squared, he wants to party. Before he can party, all of his friends have to come over. Are all of his friends over right now? No. 3x has got to come over, so minus 3x to both sides. Minus 16 has to come over, so plus 16 to both sides. X squared minus 10x plus 16 equals 0. Party time! Bubbles! X and x. First sign comes down. Negative and a positive is a negative. Multiplies to 16. 1 and 16. 2 and 8. 4 and 4. Adds to 10. 8 and 2. Bigger number goes first. Set each factor equal to 0 because in an equation you're not done until you have x equals. X minus 8 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0. X is 8. X is 2. Final level we're going to talk about, number 19. This goes another thing back from Algebra 1. To multiply binomials, we use our box method. You might have learned FOIL, but I feel like most teachers use box. So if I'm doing x minus 2 times x plus 3, I create my 2 by 2 box. I multiply each value. X squared minus 2x. Here it's the positive 3 and the x. That's positive 3x. Positive 3 and times negative 2 is negative 6. I then combine like terms. X squared plus x minus 6. So I replace the x minus 2 times x plus 3 with the x squared plus x minus 6 equals 3x plus 2. And now that I have an x squared, Mr. X squared, he wants to party. All of his friends have to come over. X squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Party time. Bubbles. X and x. First sign comes down. Negative and negative is a positive. Multiplies to 8. 1 and 8. 2 and 4. Subtracts 2. Bigger number goes first. Set each factor equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0. And for the purposes of what we're going to be doing, it will always work out for the time being, or at least in this course, where it will just be a matter of switching the sign. But in Algebra 2, definitely not the case. Even in Algebra 1, not the case. X equals negative 2, x equals 4. So we're going to need this algebra for the geometry. This is what you need to know. Practice it until you know it, and then move on with your life. Goodbye.